Hey, change makers, we have the final new moon of our annual progression of the sun around the zodiac, our Pisces new moon. Pisces is the wisest, most elder, all knowing visionary. Yes, a water sign with all the feels. It's feels and it's intuition that make it beyond wise. This Pisces new moon on March 18th at 28 degrees of Pisces is our chance to create an intention of unity, interconnectedness, and universal love. We are all interconnected, our reality and our dreams. Like the butterfly effect, one shift in a dream trickles forth and shifts another's dream. Your dream work is the most important work. If you can dream it, you can become it. And if you can vision it, you can realize it. In this special episode, the Jackie McDonald is joining me to talk about setting our intentions and superpowering them with EFT tapping. Listen in. Welcome back, Star Powered family. And if you're new here, aloha and welcome. I'm Leslie Tagorda, Hawaii born astrologer, author of the upcoming book, Astrology for Changemakers, coming out in September 2026, and creator of the Astrobrand Method. I light the path for visionaries, healers, and changemakers like you to attune to your strengths, purpose, and power written in your stars. If astrology, leadership, and real change through an uncolonized lens are your jam, click subscribe and let's dive in. I'm so excited that we have another episode in collaboration with Jackie McDonald, a Pisces Sun, Virgo Moon, and Aries rising superstar. I love working with Jackie and her EFT tapping. And so today she's going to be joining us in talking about what this means for our Pisces new moon. After we go through talking, I'm going to share with you how to use this Pisces new moon to hear the invitations of what this Pisces new moon is asking you to get clear on your desires. Of course, based by house. So everybody get out your chart and look for that 28 degrees of Pisces. Find the house that it contains so we can get extra specific in your new moon intentions.
We are so excited to be collaborating this year. You might have heard our previous episode. I reached out to Leslie because I was like, I want an expert to come and inform us about the new moon, the full moon throughout the year. And I couldn't think of anyone better than Leslie to share about the energy we can be expecting. So today's podcast is about the new moon coming on March 18th. Is that correct, Leslie?
That's correct. Our last new moon of the astrological new year, our Pisces new moon.
It's the day after my birthday.
Yes,
So
I mean, we know that this has been just such an energetically rich time. Like, how else do we say that? And there's just like, this is the tail end of what we call the astrological new year, because just 2 days after this Pisces new moon, the sun enters Aries. And when the sun enters Aries, it's our equinox. It's like the Persian New Year, and it's also our astrological new year. And so this is when we're starting to really feel that elevation and energy.
I just said to Leslie, she was like, "What's new with you?" And I was like, "Well, I've been speaking at a lot of events this year, and all the events are called elevated or elevation." And I was like, "I think that's my word for the year." So I love that you slipped that in there.
Let's do it. Let's elevate.
I actually have a little question for you because, everyone's been talking about the year of the fire horse,
Yeah.
and that activated back in February. What's the
Yes.
difference between that and this new moon?
Yeah. So, it's interesting, right? Because we get like these three New Years, like almost every month from January, February, March. So, January, we have like the Gregorian New Year, the Gregorian calendar, which, the religious imperialistic energies wanted to standardize a calendar for everybody. So they're like, all right, we're going to pick this date, January 1st, and that's going to be the brand new year. But energetically, that is like a dead zone. We're all wanting to like hibernate. It's like the darkest of times, like there's so little light. And then in the Asian cultures, they celebrate the Lunar New Year, and the Lunar New Year not attached to the sun. It's attached to when the moon meets the sun in Aquarius season. And so that's when we have our Lunar New Year, and that kind of feels like the energy is picking up days are getting a little bit longer, but it's still really frigid. Now, the astrological new year, this entrance of spring, that so many cultures around the world celebrate this, and even for like Persian cultures, like this is the new year, is when we have the Aries ingress, when the sun is at that equal point on the horizon, on the eastern horizon, when it rises in the morning, equal amounts of day and equal amounts of night. So it's the equinox, it's balance. And this is when the sun is moving more towards the north. We get longer days. And this energetically does feel like this is that spring. This is all of those energies that celebrate fertility, celebrate coming back to life, celebrating rebirth. And so this particular new moon happens 2 days before that, the equinox. And so we're really feeling that we're ready for that rebirth, ready for that fresh spark of inspiration.
That is so helpful because I was thinking about this, like what you said. I'm like, oh, it's constantly the new year. We've got
I
the
know,
new
New
year
Year,
and
New
the
Year,
fire
New
horse,
Year.
and but I'm like, but also I know like the first day of spring is a big deal, and like
Yeah.
I always know my birthday is around that time of like ending and beginning. So this was
Yes.
really clarifying. Like all of it is true. Is
Yes.
also what you're saying. They're just different ways to work with it, I assume.
Different ways to work with it. And this particular new moon that we have coming up is the first lunation, first new or full moon after our eclipse season. And so the fire horse, it was so special because I didn't do the research, but I don't even remember when we had a lunar new year that was on an eclipse. And so extra potent, right? And so
Yeah, what's that mean, the eclipse portion of
yeah.
it?
So an eclipse is when one of the lunations, new or full moons, happens next to the lunar nodes. And the lunar nodes, NODES, in astrology, we call them like the dragon's head and dragon's tail, but they're not physical things in the sky. They're calculations of meeting points between the Earth's ecliptic and the moon's ecliptic. And so when we have a lunation, like a new moon or a full moon near one of those nodes, that's when the sun and the moon are exactly aligned. And that's why for this last lunar eclipse we had the blood moon, because the moon was in the shadow of the earth from the other side of the sun. And then for the solar eclipse that we had on the lunar new year, that eclipse, where from our perspective here on earth, the sun is blocked out by the moon because they're all in alignment perfectly.
Wow, it
Isn't that
feels like
wild?
really potent energy. Like
Yes,
it's significant.
it's significant. And so we can think of like, like a new moon is already potent, a full moon is already potent. But when we have an eclipse, meaning everything is aligned, we're getting all of this like quantum energy thrown at us. And that's why astrologers will talk about these eclipses as being like quantum leaps or thresholds or portals that we're going under, because it has the ability to put us onto a completely new trajectory, a trajectory that's still ours. But you notice like the big things happen in our lives around then. We're like, whoa, like we just have to hold on. And all of a sudden we're like how you were saying, like I'm traveling a lot for work and it just fell in my lap that I'm doing all these speaking gigs, right?
It's
And
absolutely it. Yeah.
that's eclipse energy.
Well, that's super helpful to know because I didn't realize the also the timing of it all because this has all
Yeah.
happened in the first 3 months of the year.
Yes.
And so knowing that eclipse is like an opportunity, it sounds like for us to leverage the energy. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
All of these cosmic invitations are opportunities, right, for us to leverage. They're given to us to leverage, not to be afraid of. And so it's about how do we handle these energies in the way that they want to be handled, right? There are certain astrologers that say like don't hold a ritual, don't hold, a ceremony on these potent days. I don't really buy into that. If you know how to use the energy, right? Like if you know how to use electricity, electricity can do really great things for you, but it can also shock you.
Yes, that's helpful to know.
Right. And so when you know what the energy is inviting you into, what it's ripe for, then we can use it in that way. And so even though we just had our set of eclipses, and this is the first lunation coming up after eclipses, that eclipse energy is still working with us. And they're always working in pairs of like, what are you moving into? So, like, what are you stretching forward into? But then also, what do you have to let go in order to take that flight, right? You can't be weighed down by heavy baggage. And so the last eclipse that we just we're recording a few days after that eclipse was really asking us to let go of our habits of overworking and overgiving. And so we're still in that energy. So if listeners here like still feel like they're people pleasing, overgiving, overworking, like just really notice, what is that fear response to?
This is where the tapping comes in.
Yeah.
This is where I would recommend if you're overworking. It's actually interesting you said that because I'm starting the 21 days of tapping this March, March 9th.
Mm.
And it's anxiety relief for high performers to tap into the realm of miracles. Because it was like these two energies. I was like, anxiety relief for high performers, but also tapping into the realm of miracles. And now that you say this, I'm like, that's the first eclipse. It's like tap on why you're overworking because usually underneath of that is a scarcity belief.
Yeah, a
It's a
fear.
past.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I'm not good enough. Nobody will love me. I know those are my stories.
Yeah. What if, what if I can't maintain it? I have to work hard to make money. Those are all the deeper rooted stories that we can clear with tapping. And I love that you said they go through these cycles of release and receive because that's why we're here together. We're in alignment. That's what I teach with tapping. And this is the magic you teach with astrology.
Yes. And so this Pisces new moon, a new moon is our reminder, our cosmic timer that says, okay, time to focus on what you want.
I love doing that. That's one of my favorite things. Tell
Same.
us more.
And so this is the last new moon of our celestial year before being reborn. And so when we think about Pisces, and you're a Pisces, right? And I have my Pisces midheaven with my Mercury Pisces. So we love Pisces here. And Pisces is about dream work, like the power to dream. And when I think about dream, it's not necessarily just like, you know, fluffy and glittery and pretty. Like, yes, it can be that. But dreaming is the process of transcending, meaning rising above what your current reality is to get a better vision, like a 3D, 5D vision of all the things that you want and saying, I want this, 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 and this. This is a whole new world that I'm building. And I'm going to bring it down into this world and make it manifest. And so the power of dreaming is literally the power of creating new possibilities and new worlds.
Oh, I love this. This would be, for the people in my world, this would be a great time, it sounds like, to do the Wildly Wealthy Woman tapping meditation, because that's what that does. It sort of takes you into this different point of view and gets you to look back on your life and see, oh, there's a few things I might need to tweak, or oh, there's some things coming, or people that I'm about to meet that I didn't know.
Yeah.
And so I think that's a really practical thing for the people listening in my world that you can do around this time. And this is why I have you here because I'm like, oh, I'm going to be doing that around this time too.
Yeah. I mean, I believe that this, because we have these timers, like this regular rhythm of the new moon and the full moon, it's the universe saying, hey, like, let's co create, let's work together. This is a perfect time to decide what you want and plant those seeds of intention. Because if we are just floating around and not like consciously saying, like, I want to grow into this, or I want to become that, or I want to feel into this, then we're just like we're not designing the world
Yeah.
that we want.
I remember a few years ago because I used to tap on the full moon, new moon for years and I stopped for a while. And then life like wasn't working as well. And I'm like, what did I do differently? And then it came to me, I'm like, oh, I stopped tapping on the new moon and full moon. And it is this really intentional time. I mean, this new moon in particular sounds like set your intentions. What seeds are you
Yeah.
planting? And
Yeah.
I'm curious about the time frame. Like, are we planting seeds for the full year ahead, for the next month ahead, or both?
Yeah. I, you know, There's different philosophies that we don't have time to go into for this. But generally, a new moon intention does take a little bit of time to manifest. But when you get clear on what you want and you don't worry about the strategies or the how it's going to happen, you just simply tell the universe what you want. The universe co conspires with you to put the strategies and the tools in place to get what you want. When to answer that question about how long is it going to take, I would say give yourself like 9 months to 18 months for full manifestation, but things can happen really quickly. And when I think about from for the people who know their astrology, when we look at our charts as a whole over the course of the year, there are 12 segments in our chart called houses, and each one represents an area in our life or our business or our leadership or our work. And each new moon, it will track in a different house. And so over the course of the year, you get a holistic refresh of each part of your chart.
So that's really helpful for people to know.
Yes.
If, yeah, if they book like a session or a reading with you, they're going to get to know, oh, March's full moon is this for you in this house.
Exactly. And so
Mhm.
in my circles in my community, we look at this particular new moon is happening at 28 degrees of Pisces. If you know how to read your chart, you look for that 28 degrees of Pisces, which house in your chart contains that 28 degrees of Pisces, and that's going to give you more information of where to create a fresh intention. And so for me, it's the 11th house. And I believe for you, Jackie, it's the 12th house. Let me open up your chart and just find out.
Thank you. I know like everyone's going to want this information. It's so important too because I mean, I that's why I wanted to collaborate with you because I have just been like sort of generally tapping on new moon like planting seeds and full moon releasing, but I
Yeah.
knew there was a more depth to it that could help us leverage the energy more, and this is exactly it.
That's perfect. And so, yeah, for Jackie, because for you, you have your Aries rising, that 0 degrees Aries rising. Of course you do. That's such a 0 degrees of Aries is like the first degree of all of the zodiac. So it's like a super potent, like initiation kind of energy. And so 28 degrees, it's the day after your birthday. So this new moon is activating your sun, because your birthday is represented by the sun, your solar return. And then we have this activating your 12th house. But because it's so close to your rising and close to your sun, this is really this new moon is specifically asking you, who do you want to be?
Wow. Decision
Right?
time.
Decision time. And because it's a birthday, so I would look at over the next year, who do I want to become over the next year?
One
Right.
of my favorite tapping lines. How did you know? That's one of my favorite prompts.
And it's not exactly about like, oh, I see myself, talking on 5 stages, making X amount of money. It's not about the precise exactness, the things that you can measure in a goal. It's more about the feelings, the people that you want to meet, the becoming. And so, it's both you and I, like it's our talk, right? We know how to talk like the visioning parts.
That's our favorite.
Yeah, our
Yes.
favorites.
It's interesting because when I tap with a group, I'm actually tapping with a group tomorrow or on Friday. That's one of the prompts I have is the woman I am becoming is dot dot dot. How
Yes.
would you finish that sentence? And so you're saying like do that exercise on that day for me specifically, but for everyone. It's also
Yeah.
the beginning of the year.
Yeah, it's like what is, because this is Pisces again, and it's about the working with the dreams. It's really about like what is this new world, this vision that you have, where anything is possible, where there's a lot of like intuition, right? Because Pisces, just like you, Jackie, you're like highly intuitive. How do you learn how to trust your intuition? And how do you work with the power of dreaming?
This is so fascinating because I have a lot of Pisces in my world that are like my
Yes.
best friends. And
Mhm.
we've been saying I've always had very vivid dreams, but we've been saying like our actual dreams at night right now are insane. Like
Wild, right?
working things out with situations and people like you know, my one friends like I had a full conversation with someone last night. Like haven't talked to them in real life, but full conversation with someone last night, dealt with a bunch of stuff, and then 2 days later they run into them and everything's resolved. But they didn't have a conversation in like real life.
I mean, that can happen, right? Like you can have
Yeah.
conversations with like the spirit of XYZ and tell them all the gripes that you have with them.
And then it's resolved. You don't even have to do it in real life. I was like, wow. One of the things I'm interested in your input on this because I've used this prompt for years. The woman I'm becoming is dot, dot, dot. But the speech that I'm doing this week, there's a very like faith-based energy in the
Mhm.
room. And what came to me was this prompt is the woman God or spirit is calling me to be
Yeah.
versus just the woman I am becoming, but who am I being called to be? Because each person that's having me speak at their event, the first event I spoke at, I didn't even know the woman. I didn't even know. I was like, I sat down with her in real life when I got there. I'm like, how did you find me?
Yeah.
And she said, when I decided to put this event together, Spirit said to me, Jackie McDonald needs to be the keynote. And I was like, okay, well, hi, nice to meet you. And she's like, I've been following you on Facebook for years. And then this next event that I'm going to this week, that when she was doing like the run of show call and she came to my name, she said, when I put together this event, God said to me, Jackie McDonald needs to be there.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, like I mean, I love speaking, but it wasn't like something I was going hard on. And so that's another prompt that I'm curious your thoughts on is like the woman I am becoming is, but also the woman God, spirit, universe is calling me to
Yeah.
be is. It's a
Yeah.
bit of a different lens.
It is. And, earlier we talked about this idea of like co creating with the universe, right? And the universe it can be God, it can be your highest self, it can be whatever spirit ancestors that you're working with. Like,
Yeah.
you fill in the blank for your own faith and it works. And interestingly, Pisces is the sign of Christianity.
Oh, really? I
It's
never knew that.
yeah, it's the two fish. The symbol of Pisces is the two
Mm,
fish.
very interesting. Yeah, it's a different it was a different lens, but it is that co-creation energy. And when I
Yeah.
answered it from that, what is the universe, God, spirit calling me to be? The answer was simple. It was to be the answer to other people's prayers. And I was like, oh, okay. So that changes it from like manifesting, material things to like more purpose almost.
Yeah. And it's like, well, show me the way, God. Like, show me the
Yeah.
way how I can be like I don't have to. And that's the beauty about co-creation is you do not have to figure it out by yourself.
Oh, so relieving to hear that.
Yeah, it's like you can simply, okay, well, how do I become the answer to people's prayers? Show me the way. Show
Yeah.
me the most miraculous, brilliant, beautiful way to make this happen. And then
Yeah.
that way you're open to so many surprises, but you clearly told the universe, told God what you wanted.
Yeah. And it was interesting because obviously most of my manifestations have always been around business and growing an impact. But this year, well, starting last November, it was very clear. Like I got introduced to real estate investing and
Mm.
I was like, I had the same feeling when I found tapping, when I found that. I was like, oh, I'm going to be good at this and I'm going to teach it to people. And so I've been exploring and learning about it and I built a company, a real estate company in the States actually. I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. But I was like, again, what's the intention? It's to become the answer to people's prayers. So it doesn't always have to be in the one lane that you've done it for years. Like be open to the new possibilities, to the new lanes being shown to you.
Yeah. That's so you.
I know. I know.
How can you say
Always.
it even like any better? It's so you.
Well, thank you. And thank you for this insight because it's so helpful. Okay, so let's go back to any other information you want to share about this new moon or any like do's and don'ts around this new moon.
It's just such a beautiful new moon. And I think just one of the, like, we have a lot of planets in Pisces at this time. Mercury is still retrograde. If anybody's been, following Mercury retrograde, in also in Pisces, it's still time to reimagine. And so I'm going to drop that keyword reimagine. Mars is there to tell us to devote to our dreams. Devotion on our dreams is actually like taking action, taking aligned action on our dreams. And then we have the sun and the moon with the new start. So our last new year, the wisest, the eldest new moon before the astrological new year. What's this last wish that you want to reimagine?
Oh, that is so beautifully said. And you mentioned the Mercury retrograde. When does that end?
Yeah, Mercury retrograde ends 2 days later on the 20th, March 20th. And it's going to take a little bit of time for it to cross back over the shadow zone to complete its process. But Mercury will go direct again on the 20th, the same day of the Aries ingress, the equinox. So it's just a really potent time. This new moon, you really want to harness this because this is just like reimagining all your possibilities.
I love that word, reimagine,
Yeah.
tap into the realm of possibilities. So, if people want to know more about their specific energy during this time, is there a way for them to work with you, or what do you recommend?
Yeah, right now I'm not seeing one-on-one clients unless they're wanting to invest in like a big intensive, but I have a low cost if you want to learn how to read your chart, I have a low cost course called Astrobrand 101. Jackie, you were helping me sell that last year, and I also have a community that I'm opening. The doors are open right now called Star Powered Circle, where we also do meet monthly for new moon ceremonies, not doing tapping, but more doing the astrology and like setting the intentions based on our charts.
Amazing. I loved when I was helping with Astro Brand 101. I was like, I want to get into all of this. Like, this is so helpful. Such helpful information. Okay, we'll make sure we link all of that up.
Yes.
I will be tapping on the new moon. I didn't get to tapping on the full moon this month, but I will tap on the new moon over on Instagram always. And I'm also got the 21 days of tapping and affirmations. So,
Yes. How do we
hope
get into the 21 days of tapping and affirmation?
Yeah, I'll make sure I link it up. It's $21 for 21 days. Even if you're listening after we've started, you can totally join. But like I said, it's going to be around tapping into the realm of miracles and deeply regulating for the body. So,
Oh, we need this right now. We all need this right
yay.
now.
Yay. Well, I love collaborating with you, Leslie. Thank you so much. And I hope everybody shares this episode. If you know someone that loves the new moon energy, working with these manifesting practices, make sure you share it with them.
Yes, and everybody make sure to go to Jackie's Instagram on the day of the new moon and follow along with the tapping because it's going to be incredible. All right, my friends, are you ready to write your new moon intentions for this Pisces new moon? Remember to look at your chart and find the house that contains 28 degrees of Pisces. When you work with the timing of the new moon that happens throughout the year, you will get a holistic view of your entire chart and create a fresh intention for each part of your work and your leadership. Remember that the big goal, the big intention that you are setting is about how your Piscean wisdom helps your dream work. If you can dream it, you can become it. If you can vision it, you can realize it. And now, specifically for 28 degrees of Pisces. So, for example, my 28 degrees of Pisces is in my 10th house, my house of business, my house of completing my ultimate mission and delivering on that mission. So, of course, I'm going to create an intention about how my dream work can really become a strategy in delivering for my clients. And I'm going to be really journaling on what that means for me. So, as you listen to these invitations, I want you to take that big question and really sit with it. Don't say, oh, this is too hard. I don't understand the question. I want you to reflect. Of course, listen to Jackie's Instagram. She's going to be dropping a new moon tapping to help you really integrate into your nervous system and into your body this dream work. So take a look. So if this new moon at 28 degrees of Pisces is activating your first house, this is your invitation to how can you lead and get things done with your dream work, compassion, and unity. What does that mean for you? How do you want to get clear on what you want in your leadership? If this Pisces new moon is activating your second house, your invitation for this new moon is how can you add value and create results with interconnectivity, ease, and of course, your power to dream. If this new moon is activating your third house, this is asking you, how can you express yourself and communicate with your dreams, your vibe, and energy? Remember what Jackie was saying was that she had an entire conversation in her dreams with her friend. And all of a sudden, when she saw her friend in person, everything was resolved. And so, Pisces on the third house, you're communicating, whether you're using your words, talking physically, or actually communicating with just vibe, energy, and dreams. If this new moon is activating your fourth house, how can you create belonging with empathetic healing spaces that allow people to envision their dreams? I know this feels all very touchy feely, but let me just show you how important all of this inner work is so potent for your outer expression in your leadership and your change making. If this new moon is activating your fifth house, it's time for you to set an intention on how can you celebrate and enjoy your passion projects that are both dreamy and imaginative. So again, another more personal intention for you to really fill your cup with vitality and joy so that you can also work as hard as you play. If this new moon is activating your sixth house, this is inviting you to create a new intention on how you can practice systemizing your flow and restoration on a daily basis. So, meaning, do you have a daily practice of dreaming, of meditating, of coming back into your Piscean flow and meditative states to help you with your overall systems? If this new moon is activating your seventh house, this is all about your partnerships, for your romantic partnerships, your business partnerships, your co-creations. And this is your invitation to set a new intention on how can you commit and collaborate with other idealistic visionaries and dreamers. So if this new moon is activating your eighth house, this is your invitation to set a fresh intention on how can you trust your inner power to transform escapism, that's avoidance and running away and bypassing, into spiritual healing, to be with all of those big emotions and to learn how to channel them so that you can create power, transformation, and self-trust. If this new moon is activating your ninth house, your house of publishing, and publishing has so many different iterations now. It's not just traditional publishing, it's also podcasting. It's basically how are you sharing your philosophy, your ideals with the wider world? This is your intention for how can you expand your purpose, your philosophy, your unique view of the world, of unity and world building. How will you disseminate that into the universe? If this new moon is activating your 10th house, this new moon is asking, how can you deliver on your ultimate mission as a spiritual and compassionate leader? Remember, I was telling you that this is activating my 10th house. So it's really asking me, like, what am I going to do to deliver on this ultimate mission to create more dreams, to be a spiritual and compassionate leader? I have my ideas. If this new moon is activating your 11th house, this is your invitation to set an intention on how can you change the world, impact social change with your vision of a soul-connected new world. Paint that picture, get super clear on it, and ask the universe to co-create and how to make that happen in your most miraculous way. And lastly, if this new moon is activating your 12th house, how can you more easily restore universal love and peace? You're coming within, you're really taking care of your spiritual self, getting ready for a rebirth. So, how are you going to more easily restore? I know that's a very intangible one, but let your intuition come through. All right, my friends, I hope that you found this new moon really potent and this episode really just yummy. It just feels so good. So, we are having our opening ceremony for Star Powered Circle in just a week. And so, if you've already signed up for this beautiful global community and sanctuary, thank you so much. And if you're still on the fence, this is your call, because you know what? In Star Powered Circle, we are going to be hosting all of these new moon ceremonies and doing this work together, not only coming up with our intentions together, but also planting the seeds together. Because when we plant our seeds together, they support each other, we can hold each other accountable and really manifest in community. So head on over to starpower.com/circle and sign up today. It's been such a joy to come back to regular podcasting. If you really found this episode helpful, please share it with a friend. Please rate and review so that we can share this work with the world. Thank you so much, and we'll talk to you soon. So thank you again. If this episode, if this podcast has touched your heart, please share it with others. Please leave me a rating and review so we can reach the hearts of even more change makers like you.